What if I told you there's a community that makes up less than 0.2% of the world's population, but holds a disproportionately high share of global influence, intellectual capital, and yes, wealth? And here's the fact: it's not by luck, inheritance, or magic. It's by design. Today, we're studying Jewish secrets to building generational wealth, the timeless principles, cultural habits, and mindset shifts that have helped Jewish families create prosperity that lasts for generations. This video isn't about religion, it's about strategy. And if you stay with me, you're going to walk away with a blueprint. Quick question before we start. Have you ever wondered why wealth seems to stick with some families and disappear with others? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And while you're here, tap the like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss content that helps you build a smarter, richer future. Secret 1. It starts with identity, not income. Here's something wild. Many Jewish children grow up with a sense of financial identity before they even understand what money is. From a young age, they're not just taught how to earn money, they're taught who they are in relation to money. The mindset is this: you are a steward of wealth. You are responsible for managing it wisely. You're expected to grow it and pass it on. This is called intergenerational financial identity, and it's powerful. Compare that to how most of us grew up. We weren't taught to build wealth. We were taught to get a job, to survive, maybe even to not talk about money. That silence becomes a gap, and that gap becomes generational poverty. Jewish families, on the other hand, talk about money openly, not just as currency, but as a tool to serve purpose, community, and legacy. If you want to build wealth that lasts, don't just chase money. Build a culture around money. Create values, not just goals. Talk about it with your kids. Let wealth become part of your family's identity, not a taboo. Secret 2. The family is the first bank. Here's a quote that changed my thinking. The Jewish mother is the first venture capitalist her child will ever meet. What does that mean? Jewish families often act as the first investors in each other's success. Need money to start a business, a down payment on a house, tuition fees. The family doesn't say, "Go figure it out." They say, "Let's pool resources." And this isn't new, it's ancient. In Jewish tradition, the idea of tzedakah, or charity, isn't just about helping strangers. It starts at home. You invest in your children. You build up your siblings. You support the elders. You don't leave people behind. Now, imagine if every family acted as a micro bank with shared wisdom, shared capital, and shared accountability. That's how you build a dynasty, not just a paycheck. You don't need to be rich to practice this. Start with small habits: a family savings pot, a monthly money meeting, a shared investment goal. Make your family part of the solution, not just spectators. If this concept hit home, drop an emoji in the comments. And if you're already doing something like this, share your setup below. You might inspire someone else. Secret 3. Education is the first investment. There's a reason Jewish communities have historically outperformed in industries like finance, law, medicine, and technology. They prioritize education like it's life or death. And it's not just about formal degrees, it's about the discipline of learning. Jewish culture teaches, if you lose your wealth, you haven't lost much. But if you lose your knowledge, you've lost everything. This is why you'll find Jewish families investing in books over bling, libraries over luxuries, tutors over toys. It's not uncommon to find entire families reading, debating, learning languages, analyzing scriptures from childhood to old age. It's a culture of lifelong learning, and that learning becomes the engine of wealth creation. Do you want to follow this path? Build a reading habit. Read one book a month on finance, business, or self-growth. If you're a parent, read with your kids. Model it. Reward it. Make learning sacred in your home. Need ideas? Start with The Millionaire Next Door or The Richest Man in Babylon. Both explore timeless lessons, the kind Jewish families have quietly mastered for centuries. Go and download the PDF after this video and build your own Jewish-style wealth library. Moreover, if you're getting value from this video, help me reach more people by tapping the like button. It takes 1 second and makes a huge difference with the algorithm. And if you haven't yet, subscribe. We've got an entire series coming up, including insight into wealth-building habits from other cultures too. You don't want to miss it. Secret 4. Build assets, not just careers. One of the most deeply rooted ideas in Jewish financial philosophy is this: don't just earn a living, build assets. Let that sink in. While much of the world is focused on chasing high-paying jobs or getting promoted, Jewish families often prioritize owning something. It could be a business, real estate, intellectual property, or long-term investments. Because a paycheck ends when your job ends, but assets work even when you don't. In Jewish history, many families were denied access to land or traditional employment under oppressive regimes. So they adapted. They became merchants, traders, bankers, not because it was trendy, but because ownership gave them control over their economic destiny. This mindset shift from "how do I earn more" to "what can I build that earns for me" is the foundation of generational wealth. Think about it. Would you rather make $200,000 a year at a job, or own a small apartment that pays you $1,500 a month forever? Assets outlive effort. They keep producing. That's how wealth compounds across generations. In 2019, the Wealth Builders published an article on how Jewish entrepreneurs used asset building to thrive economically, not overnight, but over decades of discipline and reinvestment. If this principle resonates with you, take 10 seconds to like this video and drop a retweet in the comments. It helps more people discover these ideas. Secret 5. Family is the first financial institution. In the Jewish tradition, family isn't just emotional, it's financial. Jewish families often pool resources. They help one another with education, housing, or starting a business. They create informal family banks, not for luxury, but for opportunity. Think about it. Most people struggle alone. You want to start a business, you go to a bank. You want to study abroad, you take on massive loans. But in many Jewish communities, the first lender is your family, and the first investor, also your family. This creates a cycle of trust, lower financial risk, and faster upward mobility. There's a Jewish scripture that says, "A good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children." It's not just about money, it's about momentum. One generation builds, the next expands, the third scales. Because there's a system of financial support at the foundation. You might not have a trust fund. That's fine. Start small. Teach your kids about money early. Create a savings pool with your siblings. Fund each other's dreams. Even one conversation about money can start a ripple. Secret 6. Education is more than a tool. It's capital. We've all heard the phrase, knowledge is power, but in Jewish tradition, it's even more than that. Knowledge is capital. For centuries, Jews were barred from owning land or participating in many trades. So they doubled down on something no one could take from them: education. And not just religious education. We're talking law, medicine, finance, philosophy. In fact, a 2010 Pew Research study found that Jews have the highest average years of schooling among all major religious groups. The lesson? Build your brain like it's a bank account. Every book you read, every skill you learn, every course you take, that's equity, intellectual equity. And here's the crazy part. It pays dividends. Let's do some quick math. You buy a $20 book. That book teaches you one concept that helps you negotiate a $2,000 raise, avoid a $5,000 mistake, or invest $500 smarter. That's a 100x return. Bill Gates and Warren Buffett both say reading was their key advantage. And if you're still not sold, here's a tip. Start with this classic, The Richest Man in Babylon by George S. Clason. It's filled with timeless financial wisdom and heavily influenced by ancient Semitic money principles. Want to continue seeing videos like this? Hit the subscribe button and the bell button beside it to get a notification when we drop a new video. Secret 7. Delay consumption. Accelerate capital. There's a reason Jewish communities are often stereotyped, wrongly or rightly, as frugal. But what looks like frugality is actually strategic restraint. It's the art of delaying consumption, not to be stingy, but to accelerate capital. Here's how it works. Most people earn, spend, then maybe save. But in Jewish wealth tradition, it's reversed. Earn, save, or invest, then spend what's left. It's the same idea as paying yourself first, but taken further. They don't just budget for savings, they see capital as sacred, because capital is what creates options, freedom, and legacy. This might mean driving an old car a few more years, or skipping the luxury vacation to fund a child's education. It's not about sacrifice for sacrifice's sake. It's about investing in what matters most. Take a look at how this mentality shows up even in successful Jewish billionaires like Mark Cuban or Larry Ellison. People who still shop for deals, fly coach, or reuse furniture, not because they have to, but because they value leverage more than luxury. So here's a challenge. Before your next big purchase, ask yourself, will this multiply my future or just flatter my present? Secret 8, never sell the goose that lays the golden eggs. You've heard the story. The farmer gets a goose that lays golden eggs, but in his impatience, he kills the goose to get all the gold at once and ends up with nothing. That's exactly how a lot of people treat their assets. They buy a rental property, and as soon as they hit hard times, they sell it to pay off a car loan, or they pull out their retirement fund to upgrade their lifestyle. But in Jewish financial thinking, the principle is simple. Don't touch the source of income. Only live off the fruit, never the tree. This thinking traces back centuries. In medieval Europe, Jewish financiers like the Rothschilds built long-term wealth not by flipping assets, but by compounding them over time. Even in modern times, that mindset holds. A 2018 article by Bloomberg noted that Jewish family offices, private firms managing multi-generational wealth, are often built around the idea of permanent capital. They don't sell the goose, they protect it. So the question isn't, how much do I have? It's, what have I built that keeps producing forever? Secret 9, master the laws of the land. Here's something many people overlook. Throughout history, Jews have had to move, often suddenly, often by force. And every time they entered a new land, whether it was Babylon, Spain, Poland, or the US, they had to quickly understand local systems, tax codes, trade rules, legal structures, and financial laws. Because in Jewish tradition, mastery of the system isn't optional, it's survival. The Talmud even has a concept, Dina de Malkuta Dina, the law of the land is the law, meaning if you want to succeed in a society, learn how it works. Play by the rules and master them better than anyone else. This mindset led Jews to become top lawyers, accountants, and economists, not by accident, but by necessity. Today, we see the results. According to a 2021 report by Forbes, Jewish Americans are disproportionately represented in law, finance, and policy, not due to luck, but strategic legal and financial literacy. They learn the game, then they win at it. Secret 10, think in centuries, not seasons. Most people think in terms of paydays. Some think in terms of years. But the wealthiest Jewish families, they think in centuries. This is called intergenerational time horizon. The idea that your decisions today should benefit people you may never even meet. Great-grandchildren or great-great-grandchildren. It's a concept you'll see in Torah scrolls, which are passed down for generations, not stored in boxes, but read, preserved, and lived. And this long-term thinking shows up in business too. A 2022 Harvard Business Review article explained how Jewish family-run firms outperform others because they plan for 3 generations ahead, not just quarterly profits. They plant trees whose shade they may never sit in. So instead of asking, what can I get this year? Ask, what can I build this decade that my great-grandchildren will thank me for? Secret 11. Tzedakah. Wealth has a purpose. This one is often misunderstood. In Jewish tradition, money is not just for comfort, it's for contribution. The Hebrew word tzedakah is often translated as charity, but it actually means justice. It's not just about giving, it's about doing what's right with what you have. Whether you're rich or poor, giving is a moral obligation, not just when you're comfortable, but always. The Rambam, a 12th century Jewish philosopher, even created a scale of giving, with the highest level being helping someone become self-sufficient. Think about that. In Jewish tradition, the best form of charity is empowerment. This is why many Jewish communities support scholarships, microloans, job training, and education, not just handouts. Because true wealth isn't what you keep, it's what you enable. Or as one old saying goes, we make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give. The silent programming of wealth. But let's take a moment to zoom out, because beyond the numbers, beyond the bank accounts, the mansions and the Forbes lists, there's a quiet power to wealth that isn't talked about. It's cultural memory. It's the language of influence passed down in conversations, family traditions, and even the way a child sees the world. You see, if a child grows up hearing, "We can't afford that," over and over, it doesn't just affect their spending, it programs their ceiling. Now contrast that with a kid who's taught to ask, "How can we afford this?" That child doesn't just learn budgeting, they learn possibility, and that's the real difference. Because generational wealth isn't just about real estate portfolios or trust funds. It's about the stories we tell our children about money, risk, self-worth, and what's even possible. Most people never change their lives because they were never taught how to imagine a different one. But if you're still watching this, maybe you're not most people. If you found this video eye-opening, share it with someone who needs to hear this. And remember, wealth isn't just about dollars. It's about discipline, legacy, and values passed down like ancient scrolls. Shalom. If you want more videos like this, hit that subscribe button, not just because it helps the algorithm, but because it helps you uncover truths most people never will. See you in the next one.